Hey, we're Paige and Alex, co-op students at Goose Digital. We're 4 weeks in now, and this week we wanted to talk about something that doesn't get mentioned enough in AI build content. What it actually looks like when the plan meets reality.
On the website side, I'm going to show you three versions of the exact same site. The same tool, same pipeline, but just different levels of input, and the difference is pretty hard to ignore.
And on the image side, I'm showing you some of the failures, what happens when the priorities aren't clear, and what it looked like after we fixed them.
Let's get into it. So this week, I wanted to show you what iteration actually looks like in practice. The same Claude pipeline, but with three rounds and progressively better inputs. Our first pass is a minimal brief with no brand information. This is what comes back. We get wrong colors, nothing centered with intention, no logo, and the hero headline, it generated its own company name. Everything about it reads as auto-generated, and because it basically was. The tool had nothing real to work with, so it filled in the gaps itself. And this second pass, in this time we fed in the brand colors, the logo, and pulled text from the existing site. And you can see here that we have a lot more structure, a lot more centering, and a lot more identity. There are functioning home pages, a little bit more about the brand and what they do, but again, it's still just a skeleton template, and there's nothing really specialized or really centered or catered towards the actual company. That's where we go into our third pass, where we see a completely different site, which is on brand, on color, and everything just suits and is tailored towards this company. You can see a lot of their products, a lot of their data, a lot of what they actually do and what specializes and makes them stand out from other competitors in the field. So the pipeline didn't change between any of these, rather the brief did, and that's the whole lesson.
On the image side, this week I wanted to show you what happens when things go wrong, because that's actually where most of the useful stuff happened. When the prompts got cluttered and I hadn't really prioritized the visual hierarchy, the outputs show it immediately. Here you can see that after a lot was added and reprompting and continuing to add more, well, there was a lot of issues with the white text before. It started to have issues where it was producing white on white text. And another issue, it started to not be aware enough. It wasn't calculating the size of the text box before it was actually figuring out where to put them. So what happened was you would have your text box rendering just off of the boxes, like header boxes, where they would actually be located. Then outpainting. Reflow is a feature that allows for intelligent recomposition and outpainting to match a new aspect ratio. This was the starting image. My first approach generated this. As you can see, everything's stretched, the original image is stretched, it's really blurry, and then it added on top random things just to fill the space. This is not what I asked. So I had to take a deeper look at my plan and realize that it wasn't prioritizing the ordering properly of what it should be doing, and something along the way was getting lost. So after I reworked it, this is what happened. As you can see, it's very clean, and it was intelligently placing and outpainting. Same with this one, it cropped intelligently to the smaller aspect ratio. And the one that made the biggest difference was cutting something rather than adding it. There was a pre-check call in the pipeline designed to analyze reference image prompts before deciding if they needed to go to the generator or not. It sounded smart, but in practice it didn't work. I would feed it, for example, one of the goose characters, and something like this would sometimes come out. This is clearly not what I meant. It was just hearing that there was a character and drawing what it thought maybe the character would look like. But when I got rid of that and all the images actually go over to the generator, this is what started happening. A very nice piece, and you see that the character's in scene, and it actually added more style, like these boxes in her style, which was a very nice touch. So although it sounded like a good idea at first, too much got lost in the way. We also showed the prototype to the design and social teams earlier. I think that helped. It changed some of the directions that would have been stuck with later. A feature that actually makes sense when you're building it doesn't always make sense to the person who actually has to use it, and they will have really good ideas that you can take in earlier and work on.
The thing both projects kept proving this week is that the plan is just the starting point. The first website brief was wrong. The first outpainting approach was wrong. Some features only made sense when something was actually running.
And some things you genuinely couldn't have known without building it first. The rough image pre-check looks solid on paper. The outpainting rework came from a failure, not a plan. The brief got better every time we tested.
That loop of build, break, learn, replan, that's not a sign that the process isn't working. That is the process.
Next week, we're going deeper into both pipelines, more real client outputs, and where we're taking it from here. See you next week.